What is gravy, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first trophy update of 2023. Yes, it is in March, so it's a bit behind schedule, but you know, we move. So we'll start things off by looking at the stats from last time compared to now. Obviously it's been about, what, 3.5 months, 4 months since the last update, and progress has been good, but not the best. You're looking at it now, I've gotten 8 platinums, I think, since that last video. So we're up to 20. We're up to 20. It's a nice round number. We like to see it. But looking at completion percentage, we're holding steady between 70 and 75. That's pretty good. Sort of what I wanted. Obviously, there's games that I haven't finished on here. Speaking of games, we've played 11 more games, completed 6 more games, so we're getting there slowly, and the problem is I keep starting new games, so it doesn't really help the situation, but it is what it is. Let's get into the list. Okay, so I've got the list up in front of me, and we've immediately gone to the last platinum that was earned in that video, which was God of War Ragnarok. As you can probably see if you watched that last video, some of the incomplete games have disappeared from in between these ones. That's because I've either finished them or we've made some progress. So, speaking of finishing games that were unfinished in the last video, first up is Spyro the Dragon. Yes, I wasn't going to leave it unfinished, it's Spyro. It's amazing. I absolutely love this game. Toys for Bob have done an incredible job with the remakes / remasters, whatever you want to call it. I am going to do all 3 of them at some point, but I didn't want to sort of use them all at once, if that makes sense. Trying to save some like easier games for times when I just really want a chill game. It's the same reason I've saved things like Spirit of the North. That's games that I want to play when I want to chill, if that makes any sense to you. But yeah, not much to say about Spyro. It's a very easy platinum. It's just fun. It's just fun. Anyway, next up, I'm not entirely sure. We shall see. Oh yeah, Lake. So, I remember, I can't remember, it was a long time ago. I was watching one of Elia's videos, and I remember him mentioning this game, and I'd seen things about it, like, dotted about, and I'd seen it in the shop a few times, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to bite the bullet, I'm just going to get it. I had a couple of days off work, I wanted something just to relax, to not switch my brain off and just enjoy a game, and for the most part I really did. The game is super chill. It's a walking sim. You play as someone that decides to go home for a little while to get away from the stress of like city life, and you become a postman in your hometown, and that's basically it. You deliver parcels, you get like to know the residents, you form relationships with people, and at the end of the game you have a decision to make. And unfortunately this is where the platinum sort of falls apart a little bit for me. Depending on the decisions you make, you're gonna have to replay like 15, maybe even 20 minutes of game to get the different endings, and a lot of it is just dialogue and cutscenes, because that's most of what the game is. So having to sit through that each time just to get the endings was a bit annoying. But still, really enjoyed the game. Obviously, it's a very straightforward platinum. There's only 12 trophies. I don't think any of it's really missable, because if you make a manual save, you can just go back and do it. It's not that bad. Next up, what have we got? Oh, so Session is still at 1%. I've barely touched it, I think, since. In fact, why is it? It must be up there because I've played it. But yeah, I'll go back to it at some point. I used to use, this is the thing, I used to use Skater XL as a game to switch off and just play for a little bit. I feel like with Session, because it's more of a sim, it's harder to do that. I feel like you have to concentrate a lot more, and yeah, I'll go do it at some point. I'm sure I will, but it's still at 1%. What have we got next? Is okay, Modern Warfare 2. Don't ask me why. Since the 5th of December, I have just left this game with 1 trophy. I only need 1 of the Spec Ops trophies and then the Platinum's mine. I keep forgetting to go back and try and do it. So if you want to help carry me through that 1 trophy, then let me know in the comments. I think the only one I've got is for doing one of the missions without getting spotted or raising the alarm or something like that. What's really annoying is when I was boosting the Spec Ops with It's Deadly CD2K, I think that's what your name is, isn't it, dude? You've got so many letters in there. We got this trophy. We completed the requirements. He unlocked the trophy, and I didn't. I think it's because my game sort of bugged out. I ended up having to like just close the game down, and clearly it didn't work. So I'm definitely gonna have to go back and do that because that's an easy one to clean up. And I really enjoyed the game, so you know, we'll do that at some point. Next up, I know, is Bastion. Bastion I'm playing on the Vita, which I'm starting to realise makes things much more slow going than I would have liked. It's not that the Vita's not great, I do enjoy the Vita. It's just that games like that, on the smaller screen, with the smaller buttons, it's just, I don't know, it feels less comfortable to try and do. But I got through most of the game. In fact, I think I finished the story, so I'm on the like second run through, which is where most of the trophies will come from, because you have to do a bunch of like side content, and you have to do it really, like, you have to make it really challenging for yourself. So I'll get round to that at some point. I have been sort of chipping away at it slowly, because I need to finish the game, or I need to at least get through the majority of the story again to get all of my equipment upgraded and stuff. So that's something I'm chipping away at slowly, ever so slowly. Next on the list we have the first Platinum of the year and the first game in my little A to Z thing, Assassin's Creed Origins. If you haven't watched that video, there'll be a link there, go watch that. I really love this game. I do. I know I moaned about it in the video a little bit, but sort of, you know, rose tinted glasses, all that kind of jazz. It's a good game. It's a good game. It's the best of the recent Assassin's Creed trilogy. It's the easiest and least sort of offensive to your time as the other ones are, but yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good. I might do the DLC at some point because I'm pretty sure I still own it. So yeah, that's that one. Next, I think, is the second game of the A to Z. These two have just somehow managed to sit next to each other. Batman Arkham Asylum, again, link will be somewhere above my face. I loved it. I love the Arkham games so much. I really do. In fact, funnily enough, if you hadn't noticed, the setup has changed again, because I can't sit still for 5 minutes apparently. I managed to find, I think it's up here, hang on, have the guide for Batman Arkham Origins. And this thing was just in a cupboard in my house. And it's like pristine. Where am I going? Camera's there. It's like pristine condition. So yeah, little tidbit for you there. But yeah, love these games. Again, I might do the entire sort of series at some point. Maybe not Origins, because it's got really ridiculously grindy multiplayer that may or may not be closed now. I'm not entirely sure. But I might subject myself to City and Night at some point. We shall see. That might be a whole video, eh? Next up we have the Callisto Protocol. Not a part of the A to Z. I'm saying this now in a video because I keep confusing people, which I totally get because it begins with C, but it is not the game that I'm playing for C in my A to Z. It is, however, a game that I was given a copy of, and I did a whole video on that. If you want to go check that out, again, link will be somewhere. And I really enjoyed it. that's what I'll say. I really enjoyed it. It was a great time. It's not the best game in the world. It's not perfect, but I had fun, so why not? And I mean, the platinum's pretty short. It took me less than a week, and I think over that time it was probably like 12, 15 hours max. So yeah, I'd recommend that one. Next up, we have Need for Speed Unbound. I always enjoy the Need for Speed games. I'm a big Need for Speed fan. I have 2 copies of Most Wanted on the PS2 because one was clearly not enough. But this was fun. It didn't feel as grindy to me as Heat did. I felt like the activities in the game were a lot more lenient. Either that or I was just a bit more, prepared. The only thing about that game is the drift trials were an absolute nightmare. Like, again, unless you get the perfect setup on your car, the drift trials will just do your head in. So, but the platinum is pretty straightforward. Again, there's a lot more multiplayer in this one than the last one, but it's all boostable bar one trophy, and that trophy is for completing what they call like a session. I don't even remember what they're called. It's basically like a series of races. There's 3 races, and you have to finish the entire thing with a full lobby of 8 people. The problem is you can only have up to 4 in your party. So sure, you could boost it with some friends and get a couple of people together, but you still have to rely on randomers on the internet to stick with it for the entire thing. So that one can be a bit annoying, especially if someone just decides to drop out at the end of race 2 or something. But yeah, as long as you can get that one done, the rest of it's boostable. You're absolutely fine. I'd recommend finishing the story first, because if you finish everything in the game, like all the collectibles and stuff like that, when you start the online, you get given a bunch of cars for finishing those things. So it's worth doing. It's worth doing it that way around as well. Very enjoyable though. Really enjoyed that game. I love the style of it. The whole anime thing was just really well done. Now we are up to the C of the A to Z, which we shall, we'll pull up the trophy list while we're here and have a proper look. Yes, I'm doing Cuphead, if you weren't aware. And it's going well. I haven't played it in about a week or so, maybe a bit longer now. But I took some time off work and decided to try and do some other things, like rearrange things. I put some shelves up. I did some DIY, and I played a bunch of VR. So we'll get to that. But it's going well. It's going well. We've done A rank on everything on the first 2 islands. So I'm up to Island 3. We'll do that, finish the game, and then hopefully Expert won't be so bad. Obviously, you only need 1 S rank for the Platinum. Once you've done that, all you have to do is finish the game. You could get C's across the board. It really doesn't matter. But I still need to do a bunch of the miscellaneous stuff. Pacifist is going to be annoying as hell, because some of those run and gun levels took me longer than the bosses did. I imagine the Rolling Sixes is going to be really annoying as well. But saying that, that is less rare than the defeating the boss using the plane bullets. How? Oh, right, okay. I think the thing is you can get extra hearts in the game, so as long as you finish with 3, I think it counts. So you could still technically get hit, but yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there slowly, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. It's not as frustrating as I was expecting it to be. I thought it was going to be really tedious, but no, I'm having fun with it. So that's the main thing. Same can possibly not be said for the next game, but I have made some progress in Crypt. Not much. So I'm going to take some time to update you on this. I am still stuck Um, this is what's been holding me back. I've been stuck on the 3rd zone of the game for what feels like a lifetime at this point. I got close once. I was literally at the exit stairs for the final level to get to the boss, and I died. I was absolutely devastated. Crushed, I would say. But I'm still sticking at it, and I'm still, focused on it. And once I get through that area, I feel like things will start to speed up a little bit, because I feel... The problem is when you do the zones individually, you start off that zone with bog standard everything, if that makes sense. Whereas when you're doing all zones in one run, you will have 2 zones prior to build up armor, get decent weapons, pick up spells, things like that. And I feel like that's going to alleviate it a little bit. Obviously it's still going to be stressful as hell, but yeah, slowly we'll get there. And I say, I've got 5 trophies now. 5 whole trophies. Which, 2 of them are ultra rare. I can't believe it. Yeah. I'm enjoying it though, that's the main thing. I also did download that on the Vita as well. So that I can sort of just play it. I'm not going to trophy hunt it on the Vita, I can't imagine that ending well. But just playing the game is fun. If you're not concerned about the trophies and stuff like that, the music's all amazing, and it is just such a cool game. It's just that the trophies are a nightmare. That is it. So yeah, we're getting there slowly. I may do a whole video on that at some point. I have been building up footage here and there of the game. We'll see. What's next? Are we near the end? Oh, this is another game that I started on the Vita. I did try this on my last account as well, but I mean, I had to buy it again, which was annoying, because you can't account share on the Vita. You can only have 1 account per console, so you have to wipe the console if you want to load another account on. So I'm enjoying this though. This is fun. It's, again, kind of stressful, and there's no platinum, but a lot of it is ultra rare. Like, there is a lot of ultra rares, and it's not easy by any stretch. It's a lot about finishing challenges and things like that, and some of the challenges are ridiculous. I'm not too far off the amateur challenges. I think I'm up to the final sort of... There's like 5 missions in each section, and I think there's 5 sections. So I'm up to the last one of those, I think. So it's so much fun though. It's so much fun, and it's instantly replayable. Like, even for the Vita, the load times are like non-existent. And I mean, the graphics aren't intense. Like, it looks like this, but it's just a fun game. It's just a fun game. So we'll see how long that lasts. But yeah, we're getting close to the end now, I think. We have right, White Shadows. So I think we're very close to the end. I think we've got like two games left. White Shadows is a game that I've wanted to play for a long time, for one very simple reason. It reminds me of Little Nightmares. And given that I've played those games a lot, I could obviously just play them again, and I played Little Nightmares 1 again. I'm saving Little Nightmares 2 for some sort of milestone. I'm not sure which. Possibly 50. But I really wanted to play a game like that, and I'd been seeing White Shadows quite a lot on the PlayStation Store, and it looked like a Little Nightmares type game. 2D side-scrolling platformer. It's got a very distinct art style. In fact, I'll try and show some footage of it now. It's like noir, just everything's dystopian, and there's a lot of heavy themes in the game for sure. Not all of it is sort of, I'm very dense human being. I'm sorry. I'm just not with it for a lot of stuff. It just goes over my head. But yeah, the game itself is fine. It's not incredible. That platinum time is too high because I didn't do it in one sitting. I did have a break in the middle. I think the guide says like 2 to 3 hours. The main thing that I found difficult was there are trophies for getting through specific sections of the game without dying. Sort of similar to the speedrun in Little Nightmares, but not as hard. And because the sections are short, the entire game's split up into like 20 something checkpoints. And I think it's like get through checkpoint 14, or actually no, not 14. 14 and 15 you have to do in one go, which is the most annoying trophy in the entire game. Because it's sort of like a, what do you call it, like a total wipeout scenario, where you've got things swinging and you have to either jump over them or duck under them or time as you're running along. And it's fun, but yeah, I'd recommend the game for sure. It's cheap, it's short, it's a pretty fun platinum, but that trophy, man, that trophy did my head in. But that brings us to the last platinum, and this is the reason I played White Shadows at the time, because as you can see here, I wanted Horizon Call of the Mountain to be platinum number 20. And I'm going to do a whole video on this as well. I unfortunately have not got much footage of the game. I might try and record some here. But recording the VR for the VR video that I did was a massive pain in the ass. Like, you should have, honestly, I should have taken a picture of like the setup, and I had like a laptop on the couch, everything plugged into that. I had a microphone that was naff, and I ended up using just the recorded audio from the phone that was the camera in front of me. It was a whole thing. So I've not got much footage of the actual game. Obviously I've got all the trophy like snippets which I could stitch together. But that was so good. It was so good. I can't overemphasize how incredible it was to be in the world of Horizon. Seeing all of the machines in person, like standing under a Thunderjaw, was insane. Getting to fight a Thunderjaw twice was mental. And the platinum itself, it's going to depend on how much of a VR stomach you have. I would recommend playing it stood up, but that was my personal, like, I found that to be less sickly, if that makes sense. I did try it sat at the desk once and vowed to not do it again because I felt horrendous afterwards. But for the most part, the game is climbing and shooting a bow and arrow, which is kind of what Horizon is anyway, but it's kind of, exhausting. Having to constantly like tense your arm to hold the bow out sort of gets on you a little bit. In fact, let's pull up the trophy list. I'll go through some of the bits with you. There's a lot of them that are story related, so I'm sort of just gonna try and find. Okay, so this is sort of a good place to stop. So you've got a lot of collectibles in the game, as with every Horizon, and you do have to get all of them, unlike Forbidden West. So things like this, full alert. Warning beacons are like little targets around the maps. It's split up into missions, by the way, it's not an open world. And you have to shoot them, and that's basically it. There's so many in each level. I think in total there's like 111 of them throughout the 10 missions. It's not split evenly either. Some of them might have like 9, some of them might have 12, that sort of thing. And for the most part, I didn't have any issues finding them. I did have to. The other problem with VR, I'm just going to go off on tangents here. You can't really use a guide because you can't follow the guide while you're playing the game because you've got the headset on. Obviously, the VR has like the see-through thing, so you could do that. But I don't know about you guys. My phone did not look right when I was looking at it through that. So trying to find ones you've missed can be a bit awkward, especially if, like me, you ended the game where you had like one missing in each level or something like that. But you'll get there. That's fine. Again, more collectibles, lore collectibles, legendary climbs are specific like climbing sections in the game. Some of them are story related, so you won't miss them. Others you kind of have to go out of your way a little bit. Kern puzzles are what you would expect from any kern puzzle in any game, except you are physically stacking the rocks. So that's a whole thing. And then just a bunch of like miscellaneous stuff, like shooting a watcher before it spots you. There's one mission that you can kind of do that, and the other watcher one, Kaja and Shadow, there you go. You can do both of those in the same mission, just restart the checkpoint. That one you'll get pretty easily. Thunderjaw disc, you get a couple of chances to do this, like I said, but I managed to get that one pretty easily. Complete a mission without dying. I played the first mission about 4 times, so that one was one of the first trophies I unlocked. Machine Safari is cool. Machine Safari is basically like imagine like a ride at Disney World where you're just sat in a boat and it's going along and all the stuff's around you. It's kind of like that. It shows off all the machines that are going to be in the game, which is cool. But it's these two here. These two are the only real difficult things in the game. So the archery range is basically what it says on the tin. It's like target range, and you have to complete it within a certain time frame to get enough points to achieve the high score. That one, funnily enough, took me a lot longer than the other one, which is what everyone says is the hardest one. But the archery range, the problem is, like I said, having to tense your arm constantly to hold the bow, because I think it's like a minute or something. You have to do it in less than a minute, something like that. And holding your arm and tensing your arm that tightly for that amount of time, especially if it takes you multiple tries, is difficult to say the least. But the one that everyone says is the hardest one, which is the one I saved till the end, is the assault course. And this is challenging, don't get me wrong, because it's a climbing challenge, and obviously, like I said, the climbing can be kind of exhausting at times. But once you figure out the path you need to take through the assault course, I think I got it on my second try. Like, honestly, it's not hard at all. You can't really do it until the end. You have to have all of the like gear equipped that you can access them and use them throughout the course. But yeah, overall, Platinum is really, really straightforward, like I was saying, and I mean, it's only gonna get less and less rare. I think when I first booted up the game, this one here, Defeated a Grazer, that was an ultra rare trophy when I first started, and it was for a considerable time, to be fair. But I see this changing very, very soon. I can't imagine it staying this way for very long at all. But that was the last Platinum that we got. We've just got two more games to talk about. Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII. I am, again, slowly chipping away through this one. I've picked up a lot more in the last couple of days, possibly because I'm delaying going back to Cuphead. But I want to get this done. I'm really enjoying the story. I think I'm like up to chapter 8. I think there's only 10 chapters in the game, so Plat Dad, I told you I was going to do it, and we're getting there, slowly. Just, if you're doing this one, follow a guide. I know it sounds sacrilege to follow a guide in a story game, but trust me, there's so much of this is missable. I know you can make manual saves and things like that, but ain't nobody got time for that. I'd rather just get it done as we're going. But yeah, we're chipping away at that slowly. Like I said, should finish the main story soon, and then it's just clean up. And the last game is Outriders, which I started a couple of days ago, and have been playing through with Trophy Pop. And so far, we've not done very much, but honestly, it just feels nice to have like a multiplayer co-op game to play. It's been a long time since I had one of those, so we're enjoying it. We've heard good things about it. So far, we're enjoying it. We're already getting lost in the loot cycle of the loot shooter game, but you know, it's a fun thing to do. That's all I've really got to say about that one. It's not the best game in the world. It's just fun. But that's it. That is the trophy list as of today, whatever day it is. Yeah. So, plans for the future. Obviously, I'm going to finish off Cuphead. I'm going to finish off a few more games on this list, hopefully. I'm going to start off the next game in my alphabet, which hopefully won't take me as long as Cuphead. I'm kind of annoyed with myself because the first two games I both did in less than 2 weeks, and Cuphead I've barely played for the last 2 weeks, so I really need to pick up the pace. I may end up having to do these sort of simultaneously, side by side, rather than one at a time, like I initially told myself I was going to do, but you know. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed going through my trophy list with me. I'm sorry the update's been so long coming, but at least we had some stuff to talk about, which I always hate when I try and make these videos. If I try and do them too frequently, I'm not going to have anything to talk about, so it's been good to have sort of that little gap between the two. If you enjoyed the video though, please do hit that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you want to see another video, I highly recommend this one right here. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I shall catch you all next time.